Good afternoon everybody, it's Charlie and welcome back to another video on the Chatting Leeds YouTube channel. Hope you're all having a great day so far. It's time for your final say on last night's 2-2 draw at home to West Ham United. This is going to be another brutally honest take on not just the game but just a few things at the moment that are just pissing me off, to put it bluntly. The result itself is, it's an okay outcome, but I do feel it's a massive missed opportunity. But just before we get into it, please smash that like button if you enjoy this upload. Please smash a subscribe as well if you're new to the channel, and share all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I'm very interested to hear your guys' take on a few things that I'm going to be discussing. So let's just talk about the game itself. Obviously, I thought the first half, 40 minutes, 35-40 minutes, Leeds were the much better of both sides. I thought it was a vast improvement from the Newcastle and Man City performances. We were in the faces. I thought Somerville and Willie were the two best players on the pitch. And obviously once we went a goal up through big Willie Nonto, it seemed like Leeds were in the ascendancy, and I thought at least we were going to go into the break in a 1-0 lead. The penalty incident, now, obviously, West Ham grew into the game as it went on in that first half. That's why I said about 35-40 minutes, because I do think from that point on they started to play a bit better and they started to break us down a lot easier. They were finding good amounts of space, they were passing it around well, and it did seem like they were edging closer to threatening our goal. And obviously they did. I think it was Skamaka on the left hand side, obviously tries to play it through to Jared Bowen. I think Strike sees him last minute, sticks a leg out, and it is a penalty. Now, something that I just don't understand at the minute with Leeds, and this isn't just something that happened last night, it happens nearly every game that we play, and it's happened for a while now. When the opposition score at points in a game where there's plenty of time for us to make it up, why do we just shit ourselves instantly? We were playing so well, and we were all over them. We're winning the game. Fair enough, the other team is a penalty. It is what it is. They equalise, and then for that added time, and for maybe the first 10-15 minutes of the second half, we just fell to pieces. And it was the same old basic things that we're getting wrong. Dodgy passes around the back. Cooper holding on to the ball way too long. I actually thought Cooper was having one of his better games. But then once West Ham scored, again, the whole team just went to pot. Zero attacking threat. Passes going astray. Dodgy passes around the back. Goalkeeper's distribution, although it hasn't been great all season, it just got even worse. Frantic, panicky, nervy. Why does it happen when the other team score? Leeds could be winning the game 4-0. The team will pull a goal back and we will fall to pieces. Whether it's at home or away. I guess it's worse at home, obviously, because it's your own fans that are getting at you. But, there was a point in that second half where we tried clearing the ball and we were kicking it against his own players numerous times, and it was actually laughable. There was people in the south stand around me laughing. And not in we're laughing because we're just like, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. I don't even call it defending anymore. I don't know what it is. And what I want to know as well is, what does Marsh say to them at half-time? Or even on the pitch, when West Ham equalise, he should be bellowing orders out onto the pitch saying, it's fine, keep your heads, stick to your shape, stick to the plan, blah, blah, blah. It clearly doesn't work. Whatever he says. Now again, I'm not putting that on Marsh. For me, that's a mentality thing. It's a confidence thing. And like we've said with a few of our players individually, that they're confidence-based players. I think as a collective, as a team, I think we're a confidence-based team. Because we started the game off really well. We score. And then I'm thinking, right, we're in the faces now. We've got a much more confidence going in front. Why can't we just push on? I'm not even saying score another goal, but just maintain the performance levels until half-time. But when Leeds score, that's when we're most vulnerable. And you could tell that the performance took a slight dip when we scored. And then that's when West Ham sensed that. Because West Ham are not a pressing team, 9 times out of 10. But they could tell that Leeds were getting nervy and they started pressing us. And it was working. Robin Koch, in that first half, receives a ball from the keeper from a goal kick and just passes it straight to Pablo Fornells. Looking for Ayling, but our passing at times is very predictable. Our style of play is very predictable. Goalkeepers' kicks are predictable. And at times we're hoofing balls up to Willie Gnonto and Rodrigo, who are about 5 foot tall compared to them centre halves of West Ham. Like I said, passes going astray. People just being weak on the ball. We'll get onto him now, Brendan Aronson. I said it in a previous upload, I think, that the guy has not done anything since August. I'm not going to write him off just yet because there's potential there. There's potential for a very good young player there. He started the season off really well, but since maybe the end of August, early September, he has taken a massive dip in form. Now, I actually thought, again, like everyone really, he was having an alright game, a good game, up until maybe the end of the first half. But again, weak on the ball. Stay on your feet if you can. Fair enough if it's a genuine foul. Even if you're trying to con the ref in a way, if the ref doesn't blow, get up, stop moaning at the linesman, stop moaning at the ref, get up and get on with it. Weak. And we don't like that as Leeds players. If he's an opposition player and he's going down like that, then we're taunting him, we're getting at him. For me, you should be able to do that to your own as well, if that's what he wants to do, which for me is just the wrong thing to go about things. But anyway, that's just me. And obviously Aronson is at fault for the second West Ham goal, which just topped off a nightmare evening for him. Like I said, although he was having one of his better games, it still wasn't effective enough. And this just topped his night off. Literally, the game had kicked off in the second half for about a minute, if that, I'll give it. Tries to tap it back to Rocker. Maybe it's kind of his fault as well because he's not read it. I don't know, but it's miscommunication. Aronson tees it on a plate for Gianluca Scamacca, and to be fair, it was right in front of me. Unbelievable bend on the finish, and it's 2-1 West Ham out of nothing. They'd done nothing all game, and yet they'd scored 2 goals that quickly. But from that point, West Ham kind of did drop off a little bit. But Leeds' defending was still so poor. Like I just said, we were clearing balls against each other. We didn't know where each other were. Strauch at one point was even having a go at Cooper, which I liked. And that's just not because I am a fan of Cooper. It's just, he's realising that, we have higher standards. And there was people shouting from the South Stand, we pay our good money to come and watch this week in, week out. Some of that out there was not defending. I can accept getting beat by a team who are better than us on the day if we have put 110% effort into it, if we leave everything out on that pitch. And yes, we did end up coming back into it and getting something from the game. I would obviously rather take a draw than lose. But what a missed opportunity that was. Massive missed opportunity. We equalise through Rodrigo, really good finish, and then obviously our tails are up then, and then we start to play well, and it's like, why can't we just keep that level up regardless of if the opposition score or not? Why do we shit ourselves when the opposition score when there's plenty of time to try and make up for it? It's beggars belief. I don't understand it. That's a mentality thing that Marsh really needs to sort out in that dressing room. But obviously we try his best. We have a few chances towards the end, but ultimately it ended in a 2-2 draw. On paper, you'd probably say it's fair. West Ham had their moments, as did we. I just think, and someone wrote this on Twitter earlier. Now, I'm not necessarily agreeing with it, but I can understand what he means to a degree at the same time. Ellen Road feels like the atmosphere is just not as lively at the minute. It's lively, but you can tell it's just a bit different at the minute. I can't put my finger on it. And I think it's because of the lack of transparency from board level, the fact that Marsh is clearly saying things in press conferences that he's being told to say by the board, which we'll get onto in a second. And obviously the performances at the minute, I've said it for a while now, I think offensively we're actually quite decent. But defensively, we're a shambles. And Max Verber was in the stands watching that last night. I bet he was thinking, God, what is all this about? And he'll be thinking it should be very easy for me to get into this team. And so he should. For me, it'd be Cooper that would drop out. Pascal at left centre-back and Verber at left-back. That is what I would do. Will Marsh do that? Probably not. Now, all these people saying Marsh out and everything, look, I can understand your frustrations. But the fact that we've signed Max Verber, a player that Marsh has worked with previously, who knows him well, who fits his system well, indicates to me that we're not getting rid of Jesse Marsh anytime soon. So we just need to get his heads around that. Because we would not be signing players that fit his style of play. And all of the players that came in from the summer as well, Adams, Aronson, etc. These are Marsh's players. We've invested quite a lot of money in Jesse Marsh now. Over, I'd say, about 90 to 100 million we've spent on his players now. We're not just going to sack him. We're just not. It'd have to be very, very bad. It'd have to be like Bielsa bad from last season for us to let him go now. Even though we're not getting the results we want, we're not getting hammered at the minute, which is the only positive to take. I think other than Brentford away getting beat 5-2 there, I think that's the biggest hammering we've had this season. So, look, all these Marsh out people, just get your heads around the fact that that ain't happening. And I'll be very surprised if it happens anytime soon anyway. We're too invested. And as I said, these comments now, we'll get on to Klich leaving now. Obviously, we've heard for a while that Klich was probably going to move on to the MLS, DC United, and that is the case. Leeds announced it after the game, not before it, so that fans could maybe stay at the end and applaud him off. But they announced it after the game. I was literally about to get in my car when I went on Twitter and saw it from Leeds. There was only, half the crowd left in the ground when it was announced. Obviously, all Leeds players, they put Klich shirts on, and I didn't know that was happening. Not a lot of people did. I think how they handled that was very poor for a player that has been amazing for Leeds for the past 5.5, 6 years. And as much as I kind of agree with the fact that he should be let go at this point, obviously, he even said in his statement that he hates being on the bench and he does want to play more, and he'll definitely be a valuable asset to DC United in the MLS. And I do agree that he's not good enough for our team anymore. But if we're letting a midfielder go, then we need to bring one in. And the fact that Marsh said after the game, he feels that even with Klich leaving, we have enough midfielders to cope till the end of the season, just indicates that we are not going to replace him and we're still going to let him go, which is a huge, huge problem. Because like I said, whether you agree with Klich leaving or not, we need to replace him. And if the board can't see that, and if Jesse Marsh can't see that, I actually think Jesse Marsh is like a lot of us and knows that we need players. But he's probably having meetings with Orta and Rads, and they're telling him that we can't afford it and that he has to say certain things that'll shut us all up. But at the end of the day, we're not stupid. And we know what's going on. So rather than treating all the fans like mugs, just be transparent. Just admit that we're not in a financial situation where Leeds can go out and buy another 2 or 3 players. At least if they were honest, you could be annoyed about it, but at least they're being honest with you. But they're not. They're making out that these players at the minute are good enough. And some of them, yes, they are good enough. But a lot of them aren't. Klich, unfortunately, is one of them players that his time at Leeds was over. He's had an unbelievable career at Leeds and he'll always be a legend. I love him. But if we take the sentiment away from it, he's not been great last season or this season, so it's his time to go. And I think he's realised that as well. But players like Ayling, players like Cooper, players like Junior Firpo, they need to go. Like, they do, or at least be phased out. They shouldn't be getting the minutes that they're getting in 2023 in the Premier League for Leeds. We need another centre-back, in my opinion. We need a competent left-back, because even though Verber's been signed, he's a centre-back and a left-back. I want a proper, out-and-out left-back who's actually a footballer. And another midfielder to now replace Klich. But now, I think, as I said, we needed one, even if Klich stayed. So for me, we need 2 now. A replacement for Klich and then just one to bring in anyway, plus a number 9. We know that that's not all going to happen in this window, but something needs to happen. The 49ers need to pull the finger out and either decide to take over or not. It's the longest. What is it that Chris on All Leeds TV says? It's the longest non-hostile takeover he's ever seen. It's right. It's right. I'm just sick of it at the minute. I love this club. And it's actually starting to annoy me that nearly every video that I am doing at the minute, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed most of the time. And I'm going into games now, not even expecting anything. I just take each game as it comes now. I don't even think we'll beat Cardiff on Sunday, because Cardiff are a bogey team for us, regardless of which league both of us are playing in. But obviously it's a cup game, so I'm not as arsed, but you see the point that I'm getting at. Then we've got Aston Villa away on Friday the 13th. God, what could possibly go wrong there? I just think if we don't start to play better, if we don't try something new, if we don't sort out that defence, we're going to be in massive trouble again. And that's where I will leave it, guys. I'm sorry that it's been a bit negative, but those are just my overall thoughts at the minute. I think a lot of us are in agreement on that. If you've enjoyed this video somehow, then please smash that like button. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as always, please share all of your blunt, honest, brutal opinions in the comment section down below. And I'll see you in the next upload. Cheers.